Hey, I hope you have checked out the previous videos because each video kind of builds upon the other video. So please watch it in order. If you haven't watched it in chronological order, please go back and watch them. So welcome back to another episode or another video about why is God so difficult to find. um, so based on what we talked about last time, you should go check it out. So I'm going to continue where we left off with a few other new thoughts, right? Um, Sometimes, depending how old you are, let me give you a bit of history background. Back in the day when we didn't have cell phones and phones were kind of still very new, we had something called switchboards. Now it is all electronic. I guess but people used to have to do like manually switching the switchboard. So if you call the operator would like plug in your line to some other person's line, and you guys were connected that way. And it's all done manually, but now it's all automatic and electronic. So some people think of God like that. When people pray, they think that God is like a switchboard worker or manager, or he works at the switchboard. Basically, he's like answering everyone's prayer and trying to connect this and that together. But obviously, um, that's not the case because God is able to listen to everyone's prayer at the same time and answer them in His own way, whether it's yes, no, maybe, wait, or keep praying. So the reason why I say that is because sometimes people have questions about God, and like I say, they might think that God is something that he's not, whether it is because with the way they grew up, because of the family, because of the environment, because they think that um, um, basically God is this being or this person that is closely related to someone else they know in real life. And I'm not saying use imagination to imagine what God is like, but sometimes we relate to people in a certain way and we think that, oh, if if God is only like that, or if God is like this or like that, like this is how God should be. And I guess this is why a lot of religions and idols and stories of like superhuman people are like. So eventually we'll find out what God really is like, but I'm still trying to kind of peel off different layers because it seems to me like there are many different layers to a lot of different myths and ideas of God that are inaccurate that we need to kind of peel back one layer at a time, almost like an onion, until there's no more layers left, until we have got to the core, and then we can start to explore who and what God really is like. Um, so let me move on to my next uh, idea about what God is like, or what people think that God is like. Um, so yes, as I previously mentioned, that some people think that because God is perfect, God is amazing and wonderful, there should not be any kind of chaos or any kind of disaster or evil or suffering in this world. But like I also already mentioned that it is because I believe that Adam and Eve fell into sin. That's why the world is as it is now. We live in a world of sin. We're a fallen world, a world that's really messed up, and Jesus is the only solution. Yesterday, I talked to someone and asked them the question about what is going to happen if COVID doesn't disappear, like if it continues to exist, just like the flu or some other virus or even AIDS or some other kind of disease. Like if it doesn't disappear, there's no vaccine, there's no cure, what is going to happen? And she told me, and she said something. She basically said that, okay, you know what, Jesus is the answer, Jesus is the cure. And that really shocked me very deep. And I'll circle back to this topic or this question or this response that I asked this lady, but basically it's very telling because to her, God is the answer. Jesus is um, the answer, and He's also the solution. He's a cure, and so we don't need to worry too much. Especially if we're Christians, we have different priorities and different ways of thinking and seeing the world with a different perspective and different worldview, which is very refreshing. And I honestly didn't think of that before, and I'm glad that she mentioned that. So a lot of people would say that people would tend to also look at God in a negative. They will say, okay, this God who, allows kids to be born deformed or kids to die at childbirth, and even the mother would maybe some mothers die at childbirth, right? Like, what kind of God is this? Wouldn't even let the mom see the baby, or the baby kills. Well, I won't say kill the mom, but through the delivery of the baby, the mother dies, and through blood loss or some other natural or unnatural, abnormal kind of circumstance. What kind of God is this? Like, who allows kids in the other part of the world, around the world, to die because of lack of food or hunger or disease or lack of vaccine? Like, what kind of God is this, right? So, like, this is the kind of God they would say this is the kind of God I don't believe in, and I can't believe in a God who allows suffering and chaos to happen in the world, especially if people believe God is loving and holy and wholesome and all powerful, all knowing, and nothing's impossible for God. So I would actually I would say the same thing. Like, I don't believe in a God like that who exists, or who, yeah, I don't believe in a God who allows this kind of stuff either. Like, but then, because I believe that we are given free will, God has given us free will, and if he just like overrides our decisions and the consequences of sin, or the consequences of what we've done to the world or to ourselves or to other people, if he just takes it away, then it is empty, right? So I think, just like a farmer who sows and reaps the harvest, we should also sow and reap certain things, and suffer the consequences if we've done things that are not right. And ultimately, God will judge us, and sometimes He judges us now, sometimes He judges us later. So I think we'll come to the point about, we'll talk more about God as a judge later on in another video. But for the most part, I want to say that God is not a cruel or arbitrary creator. He doesn't judge without reason. He doesn't just cause suffering. He's not a sport. He is not a sore loser. He's not cruel. He's not evil. He is very amazing if you get to know him, and he is very compassionate and loving and empathetic, and he really does want the best for everyone. He really wants everyone to know him and to recognize who he is, and by extension to love him, just as he loved us, and he actually loved us first, if you think about it, right? Just quick foreshadowing, we're going to talk more about how God sent Jesus, his son, his only son, the son that he loved, to the world to save us, and we'll get to that in the next few videos. But for now, if you're looking for a God who is vindictive, punitive, loves to punish, is judgmental, is arbitrary or cruel, or immature or unjust, right? And who enjoys to make people feel ashamed or afraid. God doesn't use fear in that sense. He doesn't like cause people to be afraid of him by fear. He doesn't rule by fear. He rules by love, and uh, he he wants people not to feel guilty, right? I mean, obviously, if you've done something wrong, you feel guilty. That's just your conscience, and we talked about conscience in a previous video as well. Um, what God really wants is for people to know Him and and allow Him to change their lives, right? To change us from fallen, evil, sinful, weak into someone who's strong and righteous and not afraid, right? We don't need to have fear because we know that He loves us. People who know that they are loved, they're not afraid. And there's no reason to be afraid if you know that God loves you and He has redeemed you and He has sent His Son. Like I said, He sent Jesus to save us, and so there's no need for fear. But we'll get to that. It's just a little foreshadow. I like to kind of sprinkle a bit here and there just so you see what's coming very soon. And um, yeah, like I said, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, they fell, and that did not cause God to have to, scramble and come up with a new plan. He had this plan before He created the world, before He even created angels. He knew that He's going to create angels and the world, and then He's going to create our universe, and our plane of existence. He's going to create all the animals, and He's going to create Adam and Eve as human beings, and then Adam and Eve is going to rebel and listen to Satan and fall into the trap and lies, and ultimately He has to send His Son Jesus to save us. So it is not like this is a surprise to God. God does not get surprised by things. He, like I said, He knows everything, and He's all powerful, and He is able to see everything from outside of time. He can see the beginning and the end from the beginning, from where He is, and He has given certain freedoms to our first parents, Adam and Eve, and because of that, we are able to have free will, but also we have to answer and be responsible for our actions, our decisions, and all that wonderful stuff. So I want to end off on this point. I know it's quite a little heavy for some of you, so you might have to listen to this a couple of times, and I'm going to continue tomorrow for the last part of this section, and then we're going to move into a new section about how does God reveal Himself to us mere mortals. Okay, thank you so much for watching and listening, and share your comments, thoughts, ideas in the comment section at the bottom of this video or in the comment section. Love to hear from you. I really appreciate you listening and sharing your thoughts, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care, have a great day, and see you tomorrow.